I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. What is going on, drawittoo crew? Ramny here with a brand new drawing tutorial, and today we are going to be drawing the Sandman from Spider-Man No Way Home or Spider-Man 3. It's the same design. As you guys know, we are well into our Spider-Man drawing tutorials of characters that appear in Spider-Man No Way Home, but also touching up on the previous Spider-Man movies as a result. And I guess it's not a spoiler anymore because in Spider-Man 3, we all kind of knew that Sandman was not exactly a bad guy. He was, but also a very sympathetic character as well. So in this turn, well, I assume you guys have seen it already, which is why you guys want a tutorial of it. In this turn, he's also exactly not a bad guy as well. So, you know, out of all of them, Sandman's kind of like the most good guy, I guess. Before we get started with the tutorial, remember that we are going to be doing a breakdown to see the shapes that make up the reference photo that we are using. And after that, we will get to the tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. So many of you guys probably know that I like to use reference photos, not just from images from the movies, but also, you know, like toys and things like that. I did that for Kang, and we're gonna do it for Sandman as well. So here, I've actually got a statue, or a bust, they call it, of the Sandman. And I really like this pose, so we're gonna use this one. I don't have an action figure of the actual, like, Sandman movie character, but I do have an action figure of a Sandman. So here he is. Pretty cool. So anyway, I'm gonna put this guy over here and make him turn his head so he's kind of seeing what we're doing here. But yeah, as you guys can see, he's pretty much like half sand, kind of half forming, or you could say he's also half kind of like turning into sand. So that's why I like this image. We're gonna start off with that circle to make up his head, of course. So there it is. And then the jawline, even though we don't see much of the jaw, like the face and stuff like that, we were still gonna kind of try to make it so that we see that jaw. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just start like messing up things on the side here, things like that, to give him that look of sand. So that's what we're going to do. Here are the eyes, and you see a little bit of the hairline here, stuff like that. Okay, so draw the shoulder over here, and then if you connect them together, you get the collarbone or the clavicle. And then this one, I'm going to draw the bicep going forward, and then you got the shoulder, so he's kind of hunched over, he's leaning forward. There's the collar piece, or the collar, and you see a little bit of his chest going from shoulder to shoulder, but here it's going to be covered by the bicep, right? Okay, and then the center is going to go this way. So think of his body going like that. So there's his body, and then it starts to melt, right? Okay, and then over here we draw the forearm. Rectangle, little trapezoid shape, or parallelogram shape. And then you got the fingers going this way. Then over here, even though it's not fully formed, you get a little bit of that bicep, a little bit of the forearm. And just like our action figure here, he's got like this mace, the shape right here that's made of sand. And it's like a circle. Half of it is sort of worn away. Plus it's got a bunch of little spikes sticking out like so, like little cones, to make up this little mace shape right there. And then we can add little details like bricks and all that stuff over here. If you guys want to do a sewer, we can do that as well. All right, so, and then right here we got, it looks like an iron bar that they use in construction. There you go. So we're going to do that. I'm not going to draw this bottom line because I kind of want it to just be a little bit more fluid coming out like that. Okay, so if we take that off, this is what our Sandman is going to look like. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our paper in landscape mode. And I'm going to be drawing, I'm finding a spot right here, right in the middle. And this is where we're going to start off with the Sandman's head, especially that circle that I like to do. And I'm going to draw him about this big right here. Okay, there you go. And then we're going to have him kind of, his head's not quite up and down, it's a little bit tilted this way. So we're going to draw him slightly slanted. We're going to draw the sides of his face, his cheeks, his jaw, his chin, like so. Okay, and then right here is where his eyes are going to be, so you've got that. And then, kind of like right here is where we're going to start with his shoulders, and then we're going to find his shoulders actually not too far, but this far away. And we're going to draw them as circles here and about here, so there you go. And then you could just bring, very roughly, just bring those lines up to his head there. There you go. And then there's that bicep right there. Okay, and then I'm going to start right here again. I'm going to create a center line for his body, and we're going to make it sort of parallel to the way that his bicep is slanted, like that, and then the rest of his body is going to kind of come down like that, and then this way. Okay, and then right here we've got his chest going across like so. And then right around here, I'm looking at my reference photo. Actually, my reference photo is over here. There's the forearm. Elbow is going to be right around here in this area. And then right here, we're going to draw kind of like a parallelogram shape, like that, right? So a little bit going past the center line here. And then you got one finger this way, another finger sort of a little bit longer going forward like that, sort of overlaps a little bit. And then this one is a little bit more straight this way. And then this one just goes straight like that. So there's our sand fingers. I mean, honestly, you know what you can do is you can always just cheat with the sand and just say that his, like if you're too lazy to draw the fingers, you could just have his hand turn into sand, you know what I mean? So that's one way to do it. Let me just adjust my resolution, or sorry, my stuff here. There you go. Okay. Now this right here is going to be his bicep going in like this. And then here around where his hand is where we start to see his sand pile starting. And then right here, sort of running parallel to that, you see the forearm, and then you got the circle for that mace going like that, okay? And then over here, see a little bit of his form there. Then it pretty much just turns into sand. I'm going to draw a half circle here, or just two lines, and this is going to be like the manhole cover that's going to be buried in sand. Okay, if you guys want bricks, I'm going to draw the corner of a brick right there, and then it's covered in sand. Same thing over here. That's going to be covered in sand. And then we've got like a little pipe or a brick or something sticking out of his shoulder over here, like so. So there you go, there's our Sandman. I'm just going to fix the proportions a little bit, because you do want to make him look a little bit more human, I guess, if you really want to. I mean, it's your choice. So you want to try to give him a little bit more human proportions at the top part. and then starts to get sandy over on this side. So there you go. So there's our initial drawing of Sandman right there. Okay, you can feel free to adjust if you're feeling like the head's too small. I think mine is looking a little bit too small, although I'm not super worried about it because Sandman, he varies in size, right? Okay, so there you go. I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to start drawing the face. Just going to erase a little bit of the guidelines, but not too much. And I'm going to draw. Now here's the thing, if it doesn't look like the actor, that's completely fine, right? Because that's not what we're trying to go for. So here's one eye. The other eye is sort of, it's a little smaller and it starts to get a little bit more gritty like sand. So over here it's fairly normal. So this side of his body looks fairly normal, and then the other side is where it starts to get more sandy. Okay, I'm going to draw just below this circle here. I'm going to draw like a V shape, and that's going to act as the nose. You see a little bit of the nose formed. And he's kind of making the exact same facial expression as our action figure here, where you've got, you see him gritting, and you see his brow. Just working on making him look like he's angry, attacking. Now this reference photo I mentioned earlier, it's from a statue, and it really does a good job of you know, conveying Sandman's powers. And let's give him the exact same facial expression, like gritting his teeth. And for this one, it's like gets narrower in the center and it gets a little bit wider on the outside. And then over here, we see less of it. Okay, and then the teeth are a curve, like so. Lower lip. You don't see much of the upper lip. So you do see that part. See a little bit of the ear, like that. Then everything else starts to get a little bit more grainy and sandy. Okay. Still see a little bit of the eye. Oh, printer's printing. Hope you guys don't mind. That's what that noise is. All right, there you go. Actually, what did come out is this thing, which is this thing. Okay, let me just put this right here. So now I have two reference photos for Sandman. All right, so here we have our sandy looking Sandman. Now the thing is, I would say the hardest part for making Sandman is actually creating the texture for the sand. And so we're gonna do a couple of techniques for that, and I'll tell you guys as we go. Okay, find a forehead line for him, and he's got a bit of that kind of thing going on at the top there. But also, so you see how I'm drawing it kind of roughly, and then also starting to remove any sort of form for his hair. He does kind of have like a flat top, and then you see his ears, but you also see like sand forming around him. For this one, you don't really see the ears very much, so I would actually just make it the illusion of an ear, like an ear would be there, but not quite. Okay. Okay, let's bring his chin down a little bit. So we'll form the chin, but the rest of him is kind of starting to become more sandy. So one way to create a sand-like texture is to just create a bunch of like, not dots, but like just faint little lines. Like that. And so I'm going to, on this side, I'll do a little bit less of it, but as you start to get to this side, it becomes a little bit more textured. So it's to give that indication that this side is becoming a little bit more rougher and sandier. Like so. Okay. Now let's go back. I don't know why I covered my, there you go. Now I'm going to go over here, and what I'm going to do is going to start shaping him out. And over here, he's still kind of human shaped. Okay, I'm going to start right here and find the seam for his shirt. And his shirt goes down like this. Over here, he's got a long sleeve, but in the movie, I believe, he's got a short sleeve shirt. So I'm just going to give him a little bit of muscle mass. Here's the shirt collar. Sorry, the shirt, not collar, sleeve. Forgive me, guys. That's what happens when you're sleepy and tired. Okay, and then just like that. Of course, you don't see the chest, but what you do see is you see some shirt wrinkle lines. And you get to see his collar. Like that. Okay, we're gonna do it again, double up on that collar, draw two lines, but on this side it's a little rougher. Okay, so if you think of this as like the top seam, a lot of people, you're probably wearing a t-shirt and now that has that top seam. It's good to draw that sometimes, because what that does is it shows you where the top of the shoulder is and kind of like where the back is supposed to be. So that's what we're drawing right here for Sandman. Then he's known for having this greenish, yellowish shirt, striped shirt, and I'm going to just color in each stripe so you guys can see each individual stripe. Okay. Of course, it follows along with the pattern on the shirt. Okay, over here it sort of acts as like a little bit of shadow, gives that chest some definition as well. Excuse me, I got an itchy nose. Try not to scratch it in front of camera here. All right, keep going. Of course, you see some roundedness right here because it's not all just flat going across, right? He's got a round body. And then we'll do the same thing here. We're going to, there you go, there's one. Do the second one. Like that. Okay. Let's keep going with the arm. Let's bring it to a point right here where the elbow is going to be. Forearm extends into the bicep, like that. Wider. And then if you draw this line, you'll kind of see it when you extend your forearm. Maybe you'll see a muscle right here. That's what that is. into the wrist. So the wrist should be the narrowest part of the forearm. And then for this one, I'm going to kind of divide each finger into 3 shapes, into 3 lines. And that's going to indicate kind of like where each knuckle is going to be. And of course, that's where you don't want to bend. You want to bend in between, but you don't want this to be like each segment of the finger. You don't want it to be rounded. So okay, and then you see a little bit of thumb, and the thumb kind of sticks out like that from underneath. Okay, let's just shape this like so. Just like that. And then using this as our guide, we're just going to start giving it texture. Okay, so over here we don't even see the shirt very much. And you see how rough I'm drawing the line here. So you kind of want to give it a little bit of a, you know, some lines that indicate like muscle groups, things like that. But you're not exactly drawing the muscles, you're drawing it with some texture and squiggly parts. Okay, so you don't want like a straight line going down the center either. So what you should do is you should kind of try to figure out a non-symmetrical way of like showing that, like the sand part, half of it is sandy, but it's not a straight line. And so this part right here would probably be better doing it if I were inking. So I'll save it for that. I'm creating just some random lines like so. Okay, right here you want to make sure that you're creating a rough shape. And of course right here too, you want to sort of create like some sandiness, kind of like when sand gets stuck on shirts or fabric. You see like little bits of sand like that, kind of like splatter, paint splatter almost. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the brick looks like it's sort of sticking out this way. Like so, and of course there's some sand on the brick. There's a little bit of texture on it as well. Or wood, whatever you want this to be. It can be a tissue box if you guys really want as well. You can have him like have things stick out of him. Like if you guys want to stick out like a reed bar or an iron bar or something like that, you can have that as well. So I just did that randomly. That's not in the reference photo, but yeah, feel free to have things stick out of Sandman to kind of show that he's forming around objects and absorbing those objects with his sand form. Or you don't have to. There you go. So just a combination of squiggly lines and just dashes and dots create a shadow as well. Okay, going over here now, I'm going to kind of just make this manhole cover a little bit more prominent and give it some texture. Okay. This is just a there you go, just giving it a little bit of texture, this cover. If you guys want to, you could even put, if you want to add more details to it, NYC sewage or sewers or something like that. New York City sewage. Okay, and then each time you see, it just gets covered by sand. There's layers to the sand as well. So here's like, think of this like as a front layer, and then here's a layer in the back that's got a brick sticking out. And more layers on the inside. Now you see this part right here is already sandy, so you only see this part as like the human. Down here is also quite sandy. Okay, and you want to just keep creating those layers here in the back here. And then I'm just going to make it so that this here in the front is all pretty much just sand. Okay, I'm going to start figuring out where the spikes are on that mace. And think of it as cones. Like candy corn cones. They're not sharp, kind of dull. So this one kind of sticks out this way. There you go. And just create texture around it with rough lines, dashes and dots. And the trick is to not rush it. This is going to be tedious, but keep at it. There you go. And just keep working at it, you guys. So it looks like a simple drawing, but it can get a little bit difficult. It can get a little bit time consuming, depending on the level of detail that you guys want to add. If you guys want to keep adding, you know, debris, you can do that as well. There you go. So that's pretty much it. Like, again, if you guys want to add some more details to it, feel free to do so. But for the most part, I'm going to leave mine at this. I'm going to add a little bit more texture in the inking stage. But yeah, that's it, you guys. This is Sandman from Spider-Man 3. It can also work as your comic Sandman, although the comic Sandman tends to have this texture for the hair. So if you want to make it the comic Sandman, you know, feel free to add texture to the hair like so. Actually, maybe we should add a little bit of hair texture as well. There you go. Let's give him a few more wrinkles to make him look a little bit older. Maybe not that much. There you go. Well, I hope you guys are successful in your drawings of Sandman. Tag me on Instagram if you guys did it. So thanks so much for watching. See you guys next time. Peace. And you guys, that is all the time that we have for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way to the very end. I appreciate that a lot. If you guys are proud of your drawings, I would love to see them. So head on over to Instagram, tag me at drawittoo so I can see your masterpieces. If you guys are ever curious about the tools that I use for drawing or the equipment that I use to make these videos, I have links in the description of this video, so make sure you guys check that out. If you are feeling extra generous, I have links down in the description as well for different ways that you can show your support on this channel. I already mentioned Patreon, but there are other ways as well, so be sure to check those out. Links in the description. Your contributions go a long way in ensuring that I can continue making videos just like this for you guys to enjoy free of charge. Again, if you guys like this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video right here, comment down below, and share this with your friends in your social media. And speaking of social media, don't forget you guys can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course on my website, drawittoo.com, where you can find a free coloring page based on the tutorial drawing that is found in this video. Again, you guys, all of the links to those are found in the description of this video, so be sure to check that out. Finally, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, stay tuned for more so you can learn to draw it too. I'll see you guys next time.